Hey, good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Business Basics with Action Coach Campus. My name is Lee Iben. I'm the head coach here at Action Coach Campus, and my special guest today is Don Dotson from Omaha. And Don, welcome. First of all, glad to have you.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
And Don, you have a fascinating story. You have lived through the Action Coach program. So tell us about that, how that all started, what you were doing, and how that came to be, if you would.
Well, like I said, I appreciate you having me on your show. And my wife and I actually, we bought a business back in 2006. It was a
Okay.
cleaning business that focused on commercial cleaning, air duct cleaning, house cleaning, and carpet cleaning.
Okay.
And we both worked full time. And shortly after we had bought the business, about 6 months later, we actually put it back up for sale.
Oh,
We really struggled with employees. We were both in the professional industries, and so dealing with part-time people with cleaning, didn't realize how difficult that was. People not showing up, uh, you know, basically your employees just flat out lying to you that they'd been somewhere and not.
right.
The place we bought, they really didn't have any systems in place at all, so we were really struggling there for.
And Don, was it a local startup before you bought it?
Yeah, so the business started in 1993. Wife
Okay.
actually that would clean houses and then do some commercial cleaning, and then she got married, and the husband advanced the cleaning, and then also added on carpet cleaning and air duct cleaning.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So you took over in 2006 and it was not what you thought it was going to be.
No, not at all. There was times where we bought it when my daughter was 1 year old. And there was times we were heavily in the commercial cleaning in the bars and restaurants, and we would find out somebody didn't show up. So my wife and I would have to take my dog over to neighbors at 1 or 2 in the morning to spend the night, and we'd go clean bars and restaurants all night, and
Wow.
then come back and pick her up, take her to day, go to work. And then sometime in there, we had to try to somebody and hire them, train them to do the bars and restaurants. And so, yeah, there's a lot of nights that we were just running crazy.
And how many years did you do that before you found Action Coach or Action Coach found you?
Yeah. So we did that up until about 2000 and, I'm going to say 13 or something like that, when because of the um, economy at the time, the place I was working for, we had gotten sold,
Hmm.
and they moved to Kentucky. So I ended up just working full time in the business.
Okay.
So when I started working full time in the business about that time, basically then I was the trying to grow the business, and it seemed like every time I'd get maybe 10,000 revenue per month, I'd lose 8,000 per month because I couldn't keep track of it.
Right.
And we'd lose the business. So that went on until about 2000 and spring of 2018.
Okay.
I met Action Coach, and like everybody, I was kind of cynical. I'm like, these guys aren't. They're
Right.
not. They're not anything. I know
And
everything.
and did you get invited like to attend a seminar at first, or how did that start?
Yeah, I was doing a carpet cleaning job at the local Action Coach place, and that's when they asked me about, hey, what do you think about getting a business coach? And I'm like,
Ah.
But then, there was a seminar, and so basically to get them off my back, I'm like, all right, fine, I'll come to your little seminar, uh,
Right.
you know. And I
I
thought I
love
knew
it.
everything, and
Yeah. Right.
so at that point, I was working 60, 70 hours a week. So I'd be doing bids and stuff during the day, and I had to fill in for people, or my account manager wouldn't show up, and so it was crazy. I'd be working weekends trying to do the books and everything. So I went to the coach one, and it was the 5 ways class.
Okay.
So I went to that and learned about that, and that pretty much hooked me there. Was all right. These guys are no joke. They know what they're doing.
Right.
So yeah, I went to that, and then when there's like the 6 steps, I went to that, and then I just started doing their app. and the 90-day planning. The 90-day planning was the godsend, because I didn't have a plan. I thought I knew what I was doing. So.
Yeah, and that 90-day plan that Action Coach has, it's pretty complete. I mean, boy, it can be exhaustive if you just look at it without knowing what the breakdown is.
Right. That first time I took a 90-day plan, I was in awe, because I was like, man, I don't have any of this in place. I was overwhelmed because I couldn't figure out how I was actually going to do it.
Yeah.
But, I just sat down with a coach and we came up with a plan that was doable, and that coached me through how to do every single step and held me accountable. Sometimes I didn't hit my goal at 90 days and it had to carry over to the next.
Right.
But, 2 years later, here I am and making more money than before. And I'm only working about 3 hours a week on the business.
Amazing. That's amazing. So all that mumbo jumbo of having scripts and systems, right? It really works, doesn't it?
And that was my thing was, I did some sales training and stuff. So I had a lot of the scripts in place for sales, but I didn't really have the systems down to detail when it came to hiring employees, what the employees are expected to do, and getting those KPIs back, and really the whole vision of where we were going, looking in the future, get a plan to get there instead of just wander around and hope I get there. So
right. So you followed the 6 steps. You got your systems in place, your scripts in place. You're doing everything by the book, and now you're working, like you said, you went from 60 to 70 hours per week down to 3 hours per week. So obviously you've hired a general manager now, that 5th step.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, like we were talking in previous interview. So what happened is, I was kind of just wandering around trying to what I was going to do with my time. And, when COVID hit, I ended up coming home, and she's working from home.
Right.
And basically she came back and said, hey, what do you do all day? So, then I had to kind of confess, don't really do a lot. So, that's when I decided, hey, let's look into this action, my free time, and let's get certified to be a business coach. So I completed that 3.5 months ago. So that's what I do in my free time now.
Yeah, and you're in a great position now because, and we have similar backgrounds. My wife and I owned a business. We actually sold ours in 2018. And similar, I wanted to do something more. I wasn't done yet, and knew the benefits of having a coach. And as I looked more into the Action Coach system, it just all resonated with me. It's like, this is exactly what small business owners especially need.
Yeah. So, one of the things that, they push it a thing past what you think is possible. So we just got a federal registered mark for our and another one for our carpet cleaning. We're looking to go now, where before I was kind of content with my little section of my town, So,
right.
It just changes your whole outlook on things. And, before, I hate to admit, but I'd probably miss some jobs because, God, if I get this job, that means I got to find people to fill it. And, they probably aren't going to show up anyway. And, la da 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 da.
Uh-huh.
But, now that I got it that actually works, sky's the limit. Let's go have some fun and go here, there. So.
Yeah. So it's obviously not for sale anymore because it's a great passive income for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not for sale. Somebody asked me the other day, goes, well, you think on that? I go, why would I sell it now? You should have came, 13 years ago. I would have gave it to you.
But, exactly.
Yeah.
Now that it's working. And I mean, and you're doing okay, Don, right? I mean, we're not going to get too public with it, but it's more than a couple bucks a month that you're making off of this deal.
Yeah, you're doing pretty good. I mean, I can't complain. I was more than replaced my income when I was working full in engineering. So
that's great. That's fantastic. Yeah. It's just, I love the Action Coach system. I've seen other coaching platforms, and I don't have a business background per se, other than just the school of hard knocks for 21 years. And boy, when you sit down and you go through that 5 ways, like you said, or you go through the 6 steps, it's like, doggone it. Exactly.
Right.
This looks so easy.
I know. Well, it's kind of like a lot of people ask me if Action Coach is worth it, and so I basically tell them it's just like Weight Watchers. You know what to do to lose weight. You just don't do it.
Right.
And so, like with Action Coach, you think you know what you're doing in your business, but you probably just aren't doing it.
Right.
So it's that whole mentality of showing up, going through, doing the hard work to get it done, and then it's gravy on the other end. But to get there, it does take extra work.
Right. And that's really the one of the bigger roles of a coach is to be your accountability partner, to kind of hold your feet to the fire and just make sure that you're doing your homework every week and make sure that you're focusing on what needs to be done on the business.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
My worst 3-letter word I heard all the time was why. And I hated that because me on a coaching call or something, and I'd say, yeah, I wasn't making my follow-up calls or something, and it'd just be why. And it'd be silent, and you're like, I know I got to do these, and so once you get in the routine and stuff, but they just hold you accountable. Just like
Yeah.
it's just like, to me, it's if you're a business owner, it's kind of like the 50 Shades of Gray, but for business. Because you're just, there's so much information, and if you really want to grow, you're like, oh my God, this is great stuff. I gotta do it.
Right.
You didn't know it was available before.
Yeah. A week or two ago, I sat down with a client and we went through their P&L statement, and it's a husband and wife team, and they never really went through their P&L statement, never together, and not hardly at all. Right. And I said, well, print this thing out, bring it next week. We're going to take a look at it. And I said, understand, it's not my role to judge. Okay. I just want to go through line item by line item with you and just have a discussion, a productive discussion. And I'll tell you what, Don, it was eye-opening for them. I mean, I really, if they want to spend their money here or there, if they can justify it, and we look at the return on investment, but many times he'd say, so why did we spend our money there? And she's like, well, I kind of wanted to do this. And he goes, oh, okay. But they learned so much just by reviewing the numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what I liked, is it taught me how to, the money wise and your time wise, treat them the same, and stool it, budget it, and do it intentionally instead of just at the end of the month wondering where things are at. You actually intentionally spend your time and your money. So those are great.
And that's one thing we talked about as well. As I said, when you spend $1, what is your expected return? What do you, especially like for marketing, what do you consider a success? If you bring in 4 additional clients this month or 40 additional, customers, come up with a number, and let's record that. What would you consider a success? But if you're spending $2,500 a month and you're getting nobody coming back in, we should probably talk about that.
Yeah. It's time to cut that program, whatever it is, modify it or change it or something. How long are we going to do something that loses money before we change it?
Right.
And that's the thing, is I didn't think about, the testing and measuring that Action Coach teaches you. It's eye opening, because you realize, man, I'm just pouring money, or I'm pouring time down a hole, and I'm not getting anything back. So I need to change that. And some of the big things for me was coming up with KPIs for everything. So,
and sometimes it's just so simple, isn't it? Another client asked me, he goes, well, how do I know if the advertising is working? I said, ask them. when they call you on the phone and they say, hey, I heard about you. It's like, well, how did you hear about us? Just ask.
Right. And you probably get 10% of the honest, 10% will always say the end or whatever, but at least you got some kind of feedback. Something's working.
Something's working.
It's not expensive. Right. It's not expensive either.
No. Did you have a hard time getting your employees to follow your systems as you started putting them into place?
I had a hard time with my employees following no system, which is why I had so much problems.
Right.
It's kind of like, you can't Brad Sugars always says you can't manage what you don't measure. And I wasn't measuring them at all. So how could I manage them? So
Right.
once I got them the systems in place, it actually loved it because they knew what their goals were to get to. They knew how they were going to be measured.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't this, hey, once a year we'll have an evaluation and we'll a performance evaluation. And then depending on my mood, I'd give you a
Right.
raise or not.
Right.
This is a deal where they knew what they had to meet and so they could perform to that. So it just
Yeah.
clarified everything up.
That's great. And your coach helped you write those KPIs to put those in place?
Yeah. I think we call them performance contracts, but for my clinic, we changed it to a performance agreement. I don't like that word contract, but yeah, we basically developed that and said, hey, the biggest thing was, like the receptionist up front, you got to find some way to measure her. You don't know if she's doing a good job or not,
Right.
So those were the tough things to come up with. If you're in manufacturing, you can say, hey, I need 50 parts an hour, 100 parts an hour, whatever.
Right.
But for things that aren't measurable, like especially in a cleaning company, how to develop those KPIs was the hard part. So
Yeah, it takes a while.
Mhm.
Because as you said, you started with Action Coach 2018. So year and a half or so, 2 years with them.
Mm-hmm. Right at 2 years. I started, I think in the spring of 2018. And so
Okay.
it took about a year and a half and things started really clicking along. But,
Yeah.
I still working the 60, 70 hours. And then I try to implement the systems on top of that.
Right.
So I just started with the things I do the most often. I knock those off first.
Right. But it had to be a good feeling when you kind of reached that point to where you started seeing things working. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was kind of overwhelming once it's like, because I remember I was about into it. And, usually every night I'd have to go out and do something, go check a building or somebody wouldn't show up or drop off supplies or, who knows? There's always something. And
Right.
my wife just said one time it was, about this time, about 2 years ago when it started working, it was about this time of the year. It's like, don't you have somewhere you're supposed to go tonight? I'm like, no, you know what? I don't. No, I don't. I don't have anywhere to go. So it was like,
That's right.
That was the epiphany there where I was like, boy, this is kind of really, I got my evenings now. So
That's great.
that was great.
That's fantastic. Well, I am excited to hear how you do as an action coach because boy, you've got a unique position on how you went through the system. You used it, you saw success, you're still enjoying the success from that. And now you can help other people in the Omaha area. So that's fantastic.
Yep.
Well, Don, any parting thoughts before we go?
No, I don't know who your audience totally is, but I'll tell you, if you've got a chance to get into Action Coach, they've got the guarantee of 17 weeks. You'll find the money to pay for themselves, or they coach for free. I mean, there's just no reason not to get the coach to be a World Series team and not just a little league T-ball team. So.
Heck, exactly. Well, thank you, Don. Don't go away. I want to wrap this up real quick. And thanks. That's Don Dotson from Omaha. And my name is Lee Iben. I'm the head coach here at Action Coach Campus. And you have been joining us with this episode of Business Basics. Thanks again, Don.
Thanks.